Welcome to the Customer Wins podcast, where business leaders discuss their secrets and techniques for helping their customers succeed and in turn grow their business.
Hi, I'm Rich Walker, the host of the Customer Wins, where I talk to business leaders about how they help their customers win and how their focus on customer experience leads to growth. Today is a special episode in my series on new and emerging solutions, and today's guest is Thomas Clawson, co-founder of Slant. Past guests in this series have included Max Klein of Leah, Rabi Ramadi of Avantos, and Marla Sofer of Nomi. Today's episode is brought to you by Quick, the leader in enterprise forms processing. When your business relies upon processing forms, don't waste your team's valuable time manually reviewing the forms. Instead, get Quick. Using Quick, you'll be able to generate completed forms and get back clean, context-rich data that reduces manual reviews to only 1 out of 1,000 submissions. Visit quickforms.com to get started. All right, Thomas Clawson is the co-founder of Slant. Slant helps advisors automate official workflows while building a more personal connection with leads, referrals, and clients. Since launching in April of 2023, Slant has grown to work with over 1,200 financial professionals. Prior to starting Slant, Thomas worked at 2 tech unicorns. He led collectibles marketing at Whatnot, and before that, led demand generation at Podium. Thomas, welcome to the Customer Wins.
Thanks, Rich. Super happy to be here. It's awesome.
Oh, when I met you, I knew we were going to have a great conversation, so I've been looking forward to this. So for those who haven't heard this podcast before, I talk with business leaders about what they're doing to help their customers win, how they built and deliver a great customer experience, and the challenges to growing their own company. So Thomas, let's understand your business a little bit better. How does your company help people?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think about it in 2 parts. First, our company mission, it's on the wall, it's on our website. So 20 million Americans get great financial advice from great financial advisors. So that's our downstream impact we want to have is we think people need advice and they should get it from great people. And then who do we help immediately to get that done? Advisors. I want their job to be easier. I want them to come to work and not have 80 things to do, but maybe 18, some order of magnitude less. And ideally, I think people deserve to use great software. I hate bad software. And so it's really nice, they deserve good software. They haven't had a lot of that in their career.
Okay, so look, I love being inspired by my guests, but you started right off the bat with an inspiration to me because I had not even thought about that downstream impact. Why did you choose you want to affect 20 million people with better financial advice? Where does that come from for you?
Yeah, we did a lot of research as we launched Slant and built it. And if you look at you dig in the numbers, you try to see how many people are going to retire in the next 10 years. We have like a 10-year horizon mentally as we look at it. And it's 44 million people are going to in the next 10 years. And 22 million of those people are slated to retire without an advisor. Like they don't have one now and they won't later. And so we think if advisors get drastically more efficient, they can help a lot of those people. And some might think, that group has no money or no anything like that. It's like they have a really high average assets, like $12 trillion in that group of people. So I want them to make good decisions with that money, make their lives better, make the country a better place, all of that. So that's the group who's set to not have an advisor. And that's the delta we want to have in the world.
Man, I love that. I mean, I have a family member, I suppose many who are at retirement with never having had financial advice and hearing some of the stories of things they're doing. It's like, man, they just don't understand. There's so many good things they can do. One of my family members was advised by my mom actually to put some money into just a high interest savings account. And that interest, and this person was like, I don't know. It's not worth it. It's like 3 minutes of work to do it.
Yeah.
It's paying for 80% of their rent now, the interest they're getting. That's life-changing.
That is crazy. Yeah. And there's so many opportunities like that. Like there's so many little things that can happen. And then the big stuff, obviously, that I think a lot of advisors know about, but the little things and like making sure you're not making a bad choice is so much of the impact.
So do you think that if you talk about 44 and there's half of those people are not going to get advice, do you think your product's going to help all the people not getting advice, or do you think it's a mix of the two? I mean, I want to understand the product and how it's going to make that possible.
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, advisors are our customer and then they help people. So Obviously, if they use our tool, it's going to impact the people who already have an advisor. But a big chunk of our product and vision is how do we help them help more people, either through being drastically more efficient or them finding new people to work with. So I want, if those advisors suddenly, if let's say they use our tool long enough and they think, wow, I've doubled the capacity and I have some tools that help me grow, that's going to get new people in that system. And similarly, if a brand new person starts with XYPN or whatever it is, they register, they break away, they choose to use us and they get their new clients, like that's a win.
Yeah. I have to argue though. I mean, some of the people who are not going to have advisors don't see the value in serving them. There's no financial incentive to provide that value. Do you think that you're going to help go after those clients who don't bring as much money to the table?
Yeah, I look at I think the biggest wave of growth for advisors is going to be that they call it mass affluent, something like 200K to 1 million, when a lot of people have $1 million minimum. Like someone with 700K, thinking about retiring, probably has worked really hard their whole life. Like I want to make that person get great advice and be viable for the advisor. Like if suddenly that software makes it so you have one check-in call, it's super efficient, your meeting's prepared, things are ready for you when you go. Something like that is okay. You can charge the percents you would and have a profitable relationship. And at the same time, that person gets a way better, hopefully, quality of life and experience. So I look at that mass affluent as the biggest opportunity for advisors. And the advisors I know growing the fastest, they're willing to serve that group.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it, man. So let's go back to your product. Is it fair to call it a CRM?
This is a great question. I love owning CRM. You could call it different things. The joke we have in the office, CRM, I think for advisors right now stands for compliance, Rolodex, and manual work. It's not client relationship management. That's the initial vision of the whole thing. And so I think we're trying to get it back to basics. How can you help manage your client relationships? Does it do those kind of things and not just be a a file cabinet of some notes and tasks you've done in the past? So we definitely would say it is a CRM. I think what a CRM does really changes over the next few years, but at the core, where are you managing client relationships in the CRM? So we'd own it.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring up a topic I told you when I met you. And for 20 plus years, I've been running my company and I've seen a few people say, hey, we need another CRM. And I always ask, why does the world need another CRM? And I'm going to admit right now, what I learned from you, and I hope my audience can learn today from you, my mind's changed. Yes, we do need another CRM and I'm excited for what you're doing. So answer the question, why do we need another CRM, Thomas?
Yeah. I mean, I make the joke sometimes. I've seen the memes of there's the Jedi looking person on the right and the sort of, they're smoking 2 cigarettes, look like a crazy person on the left. And in the middle, it says add new workflows, change this, add a new add-on, do it. And both sides just say make a better CRM. Sometimes I think we need that. Overall, why does the world need another CRM? I would say advisors have used really lousy CRMs for too long. There's way more you can and should do. And if your CRM is seen as a place that's I have to go in there, it's a burden. I hate going in there. I hate putting in the notes. People are bugging me to do it. That's everything that's wrong with it. It should, in this era of AI, I don't think I should have made another CRM pre-AI revolution. I don't think it would have been effective. Post, it changes everything because suddenly every email you've had is interesting context, and every meeting and every text message, every phone call, suddenly you can make the CRM better without punching in data. The future of this whole industry and of AI is unstructured data is now useful. It used to demand, if you wanted to know every client's favorite sports team, you needed to make a column and you'd probably only fill it in for 20% of people. And now you've got this nasty array and you can't look at it. Whereas you should be able to, who are all my clients and what are their favorite sports teams? Ask that question and get an answer, that's possible in this era. So why do we need a new CRM? The current ones are lousy. And secondly, you deserve to manage a lot of relationships with a really high quality bar. And I think technology can help you do that.
So I want to talk about it from a different angle. You're bringing it up. I'm going to dive into this a little bit more. I have been saying a phrase, and I don't know if I coined it from somebody or if it's just my own phrase, which is AI first principles. And I would say that the reason we need another CRM, just like we need another everything else, is because AI has enabled us to reimagine what the products could be. And you, from my understanding, I mean, tell your story about how you came to this conclusion to build this, et cetera, but you have designed a product that it has AI first principles built into it, which has enabled you to do things we've never been able to do before, just like you're talking about. Ask it, give me this condensed information that it was impossible to get before. So tell us the story.
Yeah. Yeah. So story on how we got to this point, how we have a CRM. Max is my co-founder. We started the company in May of 23. Our first product called PagePort. Some of you maybe heard of that. It's a marketing and video automation tool for advisors. It served a really particular set of advisors. And as we kept growing, we had people every day ask us, hey, can you do, can you, like a good, I don't know, can you sequence some emails? It was like an early thing we asked, and we did that. But for a long time, we thought, well, why can't their CRM do this? And they would ask more and more questions. And every day we'd have some version of, hey, your CRM should get that done. Like, that's not the job of your marketing tool. That's the job of your core system of record. Like, you need to go do that. And by the 400th time you've heard that question or a thing asked that way, we looked at ourselves and said, hey, this first product's been great, but we keep saying the CRM should handle this, and it's not. Is it time to, be bold enough to say, let's go be a system of record? Because I think as a founder starting out, it's almost like untouchable ground. You think, everyone's telling me I got to integrate with their CRM. I have to integrate with Redtail or Wealthbox. And like, you work so hard to just get that job done. And you kind of push that off. And when enough people asked, we said, I think we should rethink this. And we spent, my co-founder and I especially, 2 intense months of really thinking, like, what should it look like? Talking to dozens of users. And we determined, like, this can fundamentally be rebuilt, and we think we can do it. And so from that point on, we thought, well, what should this do? I'm not trying to make a prettier version of the same thing. Like, how should, in 2025, a CRM work? And that got us to say, okay, like, note taker functionality has really changed the world for a lot of people. It should be baked into your CRM. Chatting with sets of data, if you ever use like a notebook LM or anything like that. Could I upload a complex estate plan or a tax return? Could I have all my history of emails, everything like that, and start asking questions about this client record? Like, you totally should. And can I have it all live in one place so I can, like, safely and compliantly do it? That was the core for what we wanted to do. And then as you go down that journey, you start finding things that, well, we should make everything tied to a household, and we should make records easy to search, and all the little details that make, good software really good. We want to do those. But the core was, this should fundamentally change. There's a mountain of unstructured data. People are trying to do really basic things that they can't. Like, let's be the reason they can.
I want to point out something, because I've been in business a long time, and I've gone through this process where you hear feedback from customers and you're like, that's not us. That's not us. Yeah. That's not us. That's not who we are. Yeah. Why should we do that? Right. And you fight it. You fight it because you're not trying to replace something else. You have your thing you're doing. It is so hard to come to that conclusion of, oh my gosh, we should change and be something different because people are asking for that. How did you and Max, I mean, I know you heard it, but like, there must have been some conversation where you're like, are you sure we want to change our business direction here?
Yeah, there's a particular week, and it was crazy. It happened in 1 week. We had never had someone write in this type of thing before. We had 2 people in 1 week and 1 the week after write in. And I think 2 of them said, hey, how do I add a custom field of social security number here in PagePort? And we were like, you don't want to put that in an email. Like, you shouldn't add that. They said, no, we're making this our CRM. And we're like, don't do that. Like, let's get on a call. Let's figure out what we're really trying to do. And they said, no, like, our CRM in the end, it's like a list of names and people, and we do our tasks. And you guys have lists of names and people, and it's easier to do the tasks in here. We're going to put social security. And we're like, you can't do that. Don't do that. But that happened 2 times in 1 week and 1 the week after, where users had said, my current default is so bad, I'm going to use your thing that's not meant for it and muscle it to be my new CRM. And when that happened, we had a really long conversation. Like, okay, what is Redtail really doing for someone, or a Wealthbox, or a Salesforce? And as we kept talking to users, the answer was, well, it's a list of people. It's a place to do some tasks. They can maybe link some documents. There are the users out there who have used every power feature, made it done all the heavy lifting, invested in resources to make it more powerful. But for a lot, it was a list of people and a place to do tasks. And we thought, if that really is the baseline to be, CRM is like holy grail software. You're the system of record. You're super sticky. They use you for years. It's where their business runs. If that's what it takes, like, I think we can do a better job of this. And so that put us on that journey. But it was users doing things in our tool that we didn't think they should, and then the constant asks of what it would take. But there was definitely, for a long time, I mean, it's important as a software company to say no to things. You can't say yes to every request, or you'll never build anything significant. And so we feel that battle every day still of like, okay, someone wants to do this, but we have a vision for what we think this will become. What's the balancing act? But for us, it felt like we had an ambitious team, we had great people, and it was only right for us to solve that bigger problem for the customer and take like a really big shot at building something important.
So it dawns on me, I should clarify something, that the reason I talk about CRMs, why do we need another CRM, et cetera, is because in the 2000s, my first product connected to 34 different CRMs.
Yeah.
And look, there's a few that you wouldn't call CRMs. Outlook is not a CRM. Your Excel file is not a CRM.
Mm-hmm.
But I have the same kind of view that you've had, that many people don't need much more than a list. That's why they're using Excel, like just a list with some names and addresses and phone numbers and email. And that's not compliant and that's not scalable, blah, blah, blah. So let's get this cloud system and a CRM. And then you end up getting, I don't know, a bus that can hold 40 people when you need a car that holds 4.
Yeah.
And it's overkill. And a lot of people are drowning in that overkill. So I don't want to oversimplify your product. I'm sure it's very complex and capable of a lot of things, but it sounds like you saw that simplicity as the opportunity to dive into this.
100%. I think we really admire Shopify. I think they're a great company. And Toby there often says, we need to make common things easy and uncommon things possible. We look at that a lot. Like we have to look every day at what really matters in here. And can we make those like super simple to do? So like I should be able to click clients on the left side of the page and see all my clients. I shouldn't have to use like 9 filters, do crazy stuff. Like that should be a very simple process. Like that's a good example of that. But I think you're right. We want to own the simplicity of it. Like this should be a place to store all the data, get your job done, collaborate with your team members, and do it in a really beautiful, easy to use way. And then, yes, there's powerful features you can tack on, and there's all the AI there is like feeding it with tons of information and making it more robust every day. But I want those complex features to almost feel like they're in the background or they're very easy to use. So at the core, you can log in and say, who am I meeting with today? Can you prepare an agenda for me? Can you recap what we talked about last time? And now you're way better set for your meeting or your day. Or if you get a task, like, great, can I get context into what the task is about? Can I maybe see the clip from the video it came from? Like, I think those are a lot of users will ask for things that they've needed to make their complicated, tough to use system a little bit easier. And sometimes we say, hey, I know you want 400 different note templates, but I think you actually want your tasks to be way easier to do. So could we try to make tasks easier to do? But yeah, we want to own the simplicity of it and then that's our job as technologists. You know this too, Rich, is I need to make all the hard stuff just happen for you. And you can come in here and do the easy thing.
So one of my concepts and really future predictions about an AI first principle in software development is that a lot of software products, the user interface is very much going to be a chat session. You're going to ask it hard questions that a typical search can't produce, but an LLM or an AI can produce. How much is that infused into your product right now?
Yeah, we lean into chat. There's a reason ChatGPT grew so fast. If you would have told someone 4 years ago, like, what's going to be the fastest growing company of all time? And they'd say, it's just a place you can answer questions and it chats you back. I think people would have thought you're crazy. But when you see the power, it's there. Yeah, chat's essential for our tool. We have chat embedded in a lot of places in our product. Like the most popular is the client chat. So if your old world is going to a client record and seeing, okay, let me like filter through a crazy activity feed and try to search for emails and look through tasks, like that gets pretty cumbersome if you're trying to figure specific things out. Whereas a chat, you could say, did we ever talk about NVIDIA? Here's the 2 emails and here's the 1 meeting. Oh, got it. Like, summarize that meeting for me. okay, like you have answers so quickly. So we have client chat, we have meeting chat. Obviously, you can chat with any meeting you've had. What did we talk about here? What were my action items? How long did I talk? What did they reference? And then we have book chat, which is a good place to ask general questions. And that's one that keeps getting better. It's a hard problem because the context window is
Oh yeah.
a
No.
lot of emails, a lot of meetings. So that one we're constantly refining. But there you should be able to ask things like, who have I met with in the past week? Or, um, who are all my clients who live in Tennessee? Maybe you're doing some compliance work and you got to make sure you don't have 11 people in a certain state. Like you should be able to ask that question or do things like research, what's the market doing today? And then something that goes into like, well, who's in those positions? Like a great analyst, but chat, we think
Yeah.
chat is the future interface. Obviously there's moments you want to click. There's moments you want to say next. You want to have like the workflows we're kind of used to building, but it's fun to see a user, they do things in chat we didn't expect that work, hey, can you add a tag to the record for this and put up a module? Yeah, like, or confirm that you want this tag added. Boom. Like that's an easy button on the same page, but once they're comfortable in chat, they're doing everything there.
So this is one of the advantages that you have in starting now is that building chat into your product and your interface is second nature. It's just part of the system. It's part of how you're designing it. For legacy products to add it in, it's not always successful. I don't want to hate on HubSpot. We use HubSpot. We love HubSpot. When they offered their Copilot, at first it was amazing. It actually answered questions and gave me
Yeah.
data. Now it doesn't. I don't know what they
Yeah.
did. I can't do what you just said and chat with it and say, hey, show me all the conversations around X, Y, Z. I can't do that. I don't know why, but they're bolting it on, not necessarily building it from the ground up like you have done. And so I think what we're going to see in technology is a lot of opportunity to rebuild from the ground up. And the big legacy companies that choose to make that kind of investment will be successful too. I'm not saying a bolt-on can't work. It can, but you have that advantage of moving through that faster. There's another premise I have about what could happen in user experience. What if it morphs and changes based on what I'm trying to do? Instead of like the static screen of you always go here to click clients and you always see the assets and you always see the conversations in these areas, what if my query or question turns it into a different experience dynamically on the fly? Have you thought about that at all?
We've thought about that. Yeah. There's some world of, hey, when they log in, they always go first to the client page and then they add notes for the most four recent clients. Like I would love to build software. If it's seen them do that 100 times, it says, hey, your login flow is now going to be your four most recent clients and tasks for all of them because you do that every time, or a button that makes that easy. I think that's the future of software, and we talk a lot about it internally. Like the next era of software will. It's probably good to paint the past of it. Everyone was given like a rigid, almost workflow, a computer binary output of like you're going to click this, this will happen, and this, then this will happen, and it was
Right.
you and I forced users into the way we mapped it. We said, this is how it works. Get your things in the right way and it'll happen. And now I think there's an era where software is going to be like a financial advisor should be able to come in with natural language and say, maybe, can the workflow do this or change my home screen to do this? Like that's a vision that's totally possible where instead of programmers making one output and you having to force everyone into it, can they build systems that scale so a advisor or tax accountant or whoever can come and say like, my software should do X, Y, and Z, and it can get it done for you. But yeah,
this is where Iron Man I think gets it right with Jarvis. Hey Jarvis, show me this. Hey Jarvis, go figure that out, right? And the whole dynamic interface changes based on what the need was. I can imagine an advisor starting their day saying, okay, what meetings do I have today? What do I have to accomplish today? Okay, you've got 4 client meetings and these tasks are due, et cetera. Great. Step me into the workflow for preparing for this meeting. Step me into the workflow for finishing this task. And the whole experience morphs to that versus, hey, go click here, here, and here to get this thing started, right?
Yeah. And now that I know what to do, I have to do all this work to get to that point. Yeah. We even have ideas. We haven't built this yet, but it'd be cool if an advisor on their way to work could call Slant and say, what do I have to do today? What are make that task my highest priority? Talk through that. Like, that's a fun future. I want that Iron Man feeling for a lot more people. It'd be fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. So going back to how you started all this, I remember you said Pageport, you discovered your clients were advisors.
Yeah.
Right? And then you paid attention to that and said we should serve this community. And now you're building CRM. Do you think your product's going to become more than CRM?
That's a great question. I would say our products, we want it to be, the word we use is system of record.
Mm-hmm.
It's always going to be, I want it to be the hub of where you do your job. And now I think there's a lot more it could do. If you look at, let's say, like the right side of the Kitsis tech map, for those who know what that is, it's a crazy map of all these logos. There's CRM lets you kind of have a excuse to maybe do any of them. But we're going to be pretty deliberate on which ones we do. We can't just say we'll do any part of it, but anything that feels like, hey, I want to get what's a good example? Calendly or something. Like that's its own thing to help meetings get on your calendar. It's really powerful. They've built $1 billion+ company on like making that really, really easy.
Yeah.
Is that something that like we could make a lightweight version of, have embedded, and like, hey, you get 90% of the value and you have that in here, and now you don't have to think about one more login. That feels like the kind of things you would be constantly adding on. Or people are going to ChatGPT to draft a good email. Like, I want a great email writing agent inside the tool that you could do that in the chat interface, but could you make it that much easier and things like that? So we're definitely going to go far beyond where traditional CRM is now, but we're going to try to do it very intentionally with, is the thing we're offering making client relationships better? Is it going to help 20 million more Americans get advice? Are our customers going to love it? And I think that's been good DNA that we try to keep aggressively, is we need to talk to our users, know what they need, and sometimes discern, are they asking for a faster horse when they need a car? Or are they asking for the thing they really need right now? That's, I think, our job as the technologist is, okay, we know the problems they're facing. Which ones matter the most? Let's go solve it as fast as we can. And it's fun to be a new, nimble product because we can push intense, important features really fast. And that always decays.
I think speed is something that we really haven't clarified in today's conversation. Just how fast did you build a CRM from the ground up? Because CRM, it's daunting to think, oh, a CRM, oh my gosh, all the things it has to do. What'd you guys do it in, like 6 months?
6 months, yeah. November, those users came and said, we're using this as a CRM without, whoa. And we really ideated and committed to the project in February, and we launched in August. So it was a 6-month complete sprint. But it was, it was a lot of late nights, a lot of heads down, a lot of building, tearing down, and rebuilding. But there's a functional, safe, SOC 2 compliant, like your data secure CRM in 6 months, which is crazy.
It is crazy, but it also has two sides of that sword. One is you talk about Calendly functionality. You can implement an integration with Calendly probably in 2 hours or overnight. You can also probably replicate the capability of it in 2 or 3 days or a week. And so you have this challenge of, should we build it or buy it or integrate it? And then there's the other side. What if somebody else says, I could build a CRM in 6 months? How many competitors will come out?
I know. Yeah, that's a daunting. We think every day someone doesn't announce they're doing it, we think we get a leg up in this. We think there's going to be an eventual race. And I think, Redtail and Wealthbox, they're going to innovate in the way they need to. Like, their customers have different needs. They're serving different things. They can't tear something down or make it, like they have a large group of people that rely on their current way of doing things. And so, but yeah, I think this is an era where people are going to be able to build really quickly. And that's the reason, we were in San Francisco this week for a product offsite with our engineers. And like the largest commodity at our company right now is focused engineering time. Like great engineers with quality time and a really clear direction is a superpower right now, because a really dedicated engineer who's really talented can build really cool stuff really quickly. So can we give our engineers space to, like, here's what we know we need to do next. You get the space and the creativity to go make it happen. If we can push a massive feature every week, so that compounds really quickly.
Yeah, my gosh. The way I'm seeing it in my own company is that we're going to eliminate the backlog. The backlog is how many requests and things that we haven't been able to get to, technical debt, infrastructure updates, but features and requests customers have, I think within the year, we're going to be at a point where we just don't have a backlog anymore. And somebody says, awesome. Hey, could you build something? We'll be like, sure, we have time. Let's go. That's what I dream of. And I think totally is feasible because of the power of AI, if you're using it well. And obviously you guys are. That's remarkable, Thomas. All right. I am getting to the end here, so I got to get to my last question. But before I do that, what is the best way for people to find and connect with you?
Yeah, the best. I'm on LinkedIn, Thomas Clawson. You can search my name. Thomas@slant.app is my email. Feel free to email me directly. I love hearing from users, things they want to do, need to do, hope to do. So those both were great. And then our website is slant.app. So feel free to visit that and click around, find what you need.
No, that's awesome. All right, here comes my last question, which is honestly one of my favorites. Who has had the biggest impact on your leadership style and how you approach your role today?
Yeah, I've got two answers there. One is my dad. He ran a small business, still does, and growing up seeing him be an entrepreneur. It's not a tech company. It's nothing flashy, but seeing him hire and lead people and, being able to visit him when I was little, I always thought, wow, I want to be like my dad someday. The second is my co-founder, Max Metcalf. Him and I are, I'd say, a very yin-yang combo. We disagree in a way that's amazing. We work together in a way that's amazing. And the way he leads people is a lot of passion, a lot of energy, a lot of things. And I'm kind of more in the background of, well, what needs to happen right away, or what needs to happen that way. So there's like a great symbiotic relationship there. And then I worked at some great companies before, Podium and whatnot. Both had exceptional CEOs who I really look up to. Eric and Dennis, both at Podium, and then Grant at whatnot, as exceptional leaders.
Man, you're lucky to have had those experiences. That's really, really awesome. All right. I want to give a big thank you to Thomas Clawson, co-founder of Slant, for being on this episode of The Customer Wins. Go check out Thomas's website at slant.app. And don't forget to check out Quick at quickforms.com, where we make processing forms easier. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. We'll click the like button, share this with someone, and subscribe to our channels for future episodes of The Customer Wins. Thomas, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Rich. This was awesome.
Thanks for listening to the Customer Wins podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.